I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would you all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the October monthly meeting of the Edgar County Board. When you are ready, Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Certainly. Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Present.
Farnham. Here. Lawton.
Here.
Luddington.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
And Voigt.
Here. Okay, next item of business is to approve and accept the minutes for September 12th, September special meeting minutes of September 19th and 29th. Is there, you've had those documents in your possession. Is there any questions or clarifications needed, please? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve the minutes for those. Phil moves. Andy seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. Thank you. Claims against the county. Likewise, you've had those for several days, or at least a couple of days. Is there any questions or clarifications needed on the claims? Hearing none, or nobody has any questions, is there a motion to approve the claims as presented? Dan moves. Phil seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. I know, I called out the wrong names, but
Kinda hurts my feelings. If I have any, that's too bad.
all right. Okay, county board claims. You've had those. Any questions or clarifications needed? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the claims? Andy moves. Dan seconds. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. I'd like to point out that there'll be another sheet. I know you fill out your claims every month. There'll be probably, I hope next meeting, there'll be a supplemental sheet that you can use if you want to list any meetings that you've attended, just for clarification. So we're kind of keeping everything, all our I's dotted and our T's crossed. So, all right. This is the portion of the meeting where we come to public comment. We ask that you at least identify yourself and restrict your comments to 5 minutes. Is there any public comment? There's a rostrum up there for you to use. Hearing none, we'll move along to the first regular agenda item. This is the renewal of our retainer agreement with Bellwether. Beginning December 1st and ending December 1st, 2023. This is the one where we pay a retainer of $500 a month, and they offer us HR services, which we have extensively used this past year, and we appreciate it. So is there a motion to approve the renewal of that contract, please? Carl moves, Russ seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Luddington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, that is approved. Resolution for additional fund appropriations for FY22 regarding the hazardous mitigation plan. We did not have, and we deem it an emergency to do the hazardous mitigation plan. We paid out, or will pay out, about $43,000, which we're adding to the budget for ESDA, and we're also adding $43,000 under the income or revenue item for ESDA. And we deemed that allowable under the emergency, so I need a motion to, and that's in your packet, I need a motion to approve that transfer or additional resolution for funding. Carl moves. Russ seconds. Any further discussion? Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Yes.
Thank you, that does carry. The next item is a resolution to transfer $26,606 from Fund 580, or 558, which is the recovery fund. So, yeah, that's not what it's, we changed it, there's a Scribner error on that.
Is that the different number that's right here, right? Yeah.
Yes,
558's right.
558 is correct.
Okay.
I'll take the responsibility, I may have given him the wrong, sometimes when I
It's okay.
scan this this very small handwriting, I get the wrong number, but we cannot take it out of safety tax money. That would be a pretty bad thing, so, at any rate, we're gonna transfer that into the county clerk's fund. So, any discussion of that issue?
You got
Here.
that, Don?
I'm just not familiar with 558, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, 858.
The 858. I was-
858, did I say 5? It's 858.
Yes, you did, yeah, I just wasn't,
858 is the correct fund.
Okay.
It says 859. And 859 is,
You only missed it by one.
859 is the public safety tax money. We can't take it out
oh,
of,
okay, your resolution says that.
yes, and it's actually 858.
Okay, I'm on the same page,
It's a
okay.
Scribner error, okay?
Okay. I'm good.
When we make a mistake, it seems to just blow up, doesn't it?
Hey, I'm a numbers guy and I'm thinking,
858, okay?
okay.
Any further question or clarification, Don?
No, we're good.
Motion to approve the resolution, please. Carl moves, Phil seconds. Assume you're ready to vote, Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis. Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Yes.
It does carry, thank you. Next is to resolution to transfer $5,000 from the dog fund 813 to the general fund. This is an annual event. Is there a motion to, oh, and I have all of these next three, I have checked with Andrea and we're in agreement.
I was gonna make that comment that we agreed that this was.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Jeff and Andrew got together on 11, 12, and 13, and we agreed that this was okay.
Right.
And she did too, so.
Always taking money from our poor dogs.
Yeah.
Those aren't poor.
Motion to approve the resolution, please. Dan moves, Phil seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Yes. Should be a bill.
Next is resolution, it does pass. Resolution of transfer of $9,000 from the rabies fund to the general fund. Again, what your comments hold. Is there a motion to approve? Dan moves. Andy seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Yes.
Resolution next, and it passes. Resolution to transfer $9,000 from the shelter adoption fund, 840, to the general fund. Again, that's, we're not even touching the other funds,
I
so
could
the
make a
dog fund.
comment, the donations always stays the same.
Right,
We
and-
don't touch those.
Right,
So it stays as it is.
there's plenty of money left in
Right.
the funds that,
Like,
you move. Dan moves. Andy seconds. Assume you're ready to vote. Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Yes.
It does carry. Resolution for approval of application for solar energy system. You want to take over,
Sure.
Lisa?
This is housekeeping, because this is the solar project that we had discussed in previous months and approved, but realized that we didn't have it formally stated in the minutes so that they could proceed. So this takes care of that.
Is that a motion?
So I'll make a motion that we accept.
Do we have a second? Russ seconds. Further discussion? Lisa, any questions? Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
and Patrick.
Yes.
The next one is to execute a deed of conveyance to Fountain Investments LLC. That is a normal housekeeping deal that Don handles through his office. And
Yeah, through our
Augie too.
tax agent, yeah.
Yes. So, do we have a motion to make that conveyance? Russ moves. Andy seconds. Questions on that? Is there anything you gentlemen wish to add?
Ask where that parcel is. Is that,
I couldn't tell you, I don't know
I
what
just wonder. We got so many around town, you just don't know
No.
which is which, so.
If I rattled off the number, Dina could probably tell you from memory.
Don't worry
Oh,
about
no, I can tell you it's in Kansas Township.
Can you do
I looked
that?
it up, it's a derelict house,
it. Yeah,
so,
most of them are around,
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
yeah.
this one.
Which township?
Kansas, it's in the village of Kansas.
Okay.
Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
and Patrick.
Yes.
Okay, we have the it is approved. We have the holiday schedule from the Illinois Supreme Court, and on the advice of council, we're gonna work on it for next year's renewal of our union contracts, but they specifically suggest that we keep it the same this year as what the Supreme Court is and not make any modifications so that we don't run into issues with unions and/or regular employees. So, any questions about that? I think it's in your, it's in your packet.
Still on this one?
You what?
Juneteenth?
Yes. But it's even across the board. If we do it differently, it could be that there could be a grievance filed that they don't get this or we don't get that. So it's, this time, we're just gonna call it even and go for it. Everybody gets the same days of vacation. Nobody's getting more or less. Every employee has the same deal. Motion to approve. Dan moves.
Yeah, they took that away.
Russ seconds. Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Russ,
Okay,
Dan moved, Russ seconded.
thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Always one in
It does carry.
I
All
don't
right.
think my opinion's been questioned. I have a right to my opinion. I think Juneteenth is silly. Unquote.
Yeah, I agree. I don't agree with these, but I understand because of the circumstances.
And so do I, but I still don't like it.
Right.
You know what? We, Carl and I voted against one other thing every year, haven't we?
I have never voted no except for one other thing in 6 years, taking a stand.
Yeah, and you and I didn't agree on that one.
Probably not.
Let's vote on that.
Okay, we need to do a resolution approving oath and bond for Larry Luth, Commissioner Drainage District Number 1, Town of Young America, Edgar County, State of Illinois. Can I have it? Carl moves, Russ seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
and Patrick.
Yes.
Does carry. Next, we have a resolution approving oath and bond for Marie Morris Waller, Commissioner, Drainage District Number 8, Buck and Embarrass, County of Edgar, State of Illinois. Carl moves, Russ seconds. Further questions? Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
It is approved. Next is resolution approving oath and bond for Chris McGinnis, Commissioner, Drainage District Number 8, Buck and Embarrass, County of Edgar, State of Illinois. The duo again, that would be Carl and Russ.
You ready?
Yep, whenever you are.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Luddington,
Yes.
and Patrick.
Yes.
Okay, it is, they are accepted. Next, a resolution appointing Mark Wyatt, Commissioner Drainage District Number 4, the Town of Prairie, County of Edgar, State of Illinois. Carl, Russ, whenever you're ready.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Yes.
Okay, next is the resolution authorizing chairman to sign contract for purchase of farm credit and building. I would entertain a motion to table that item until more can be found out, more information can be found out. Motion to table, please. Andy moves, Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is tabled. Likewise, the next item we would wish to table for the same reason. That's the lot adjacent to Farm Bureau, our farm credit. Motion to table, please. Russ moves. Andy seconds.
That's a question.
No, the tabling, there's no questions. Sorry.
Teacher, Brenda, open your big mouth.
Shut up, big boy.
No, that's, the parliamentary procedure doesn't allow questions on tabling.
Okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is tabled. Do you have a question now that you want to ask?
No, I forget it.
No,
No, I forget it.
all right.
Even guys.
It's gonna take
Last
you,
told me to shut my mouth, slam.
Be the first time.
all right.
Okay.
Now we come to the point of the meeting where we have officers and department heads reports. Augie.
Yeah, the only thing I'm gonna share with you is, as of this morning, we've had 262 vote by mail ballots and 124 early vote ballots.
Have you done any figuring on how that compares with other elections of similar type?
Yeah, I went back to the 2018 governor's race, and the end number for vote by mail was 300 and some, I don't know, 300 and some. So we're gonna get close to that, I'm sure. And, of course, the presidential election, which is not really an accurate comparison, there was over 1,000, so, like 1,1700, so.
So,
Big difference.
so you would say it's on par,
I would say it's on par or more.
okay? Anything else? Any questions of Augie? Donald?
You have your report. First of all, I'd like to apologize. I haven't been able to investigate investing some of our monies in local CDs and what have you, for personal reasons, but now I'm back. And I will focus on that over the next week. I'm gonna have to send out a letter to all the banks and see who's looking for deposits. Sometimes I try to get bids and they just respectfully decline. They're not looking for deposits. I never thought I'd see that day, but that's just the way it is. But now I think maybe we might get some good rates going here. Just to give you an example on the jail project fund, we've already made over $30,000 in interest in the short time we've had that money. So we're just a hair over 10 million now. We made $20,000 just last month on that money, and that's compared to a year or so, you just don't see that kind of money coming in. So I did a distribution September 22nd. It hit the bank accounts on the 23rd. Biggest distribution I've ever done, 19 million plus. We still have about 10 million. Well, at that time we had about 10 million sitting out there. Things have slowed down quite a bit, but I expect things to start picking up between now and then.
When's the deadline?
November 4th. It's always on a Friday. But since I wanted to make it a week after that, but since it was Veterans Day, we just bumped it up to the 4th. And since things were kind of pushed back a little bit, it just seemed the practical thing to do. We've gotten all the state payments. I've already spoken with Jeff about one of the sales tax ones that for some reason hasn't shown up. When it always shows up, it's usually anywhere from 5 to 10,000. I don't know if there's been a change or if somebody's just inadvertently dropped the ball at the state level. I don't know.
I didn't see it on anybody's, did you? Did you?
I didn't look at anybody else's, but I guess I should have. That makes sense. So there may have been a change at the state level. It's the 1% or 0.1, whatever it is that
It's
we didn't get.
0.25, isn't it?
Yeah, something
It's
like
very
that.
little.
Other than that, office is running smooth. I've got a good staff. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Josh, you got anything from Highway? Adam?
I do have your report, so I'll get you guys before I leave, but nothing new from yesterday morning unless questions for me.
Thank you, Adam. Jill?
Nothing really. I said we're in the talks with the health department on planning an exercise based on like a foodborne illness or something like that, because they have some goals and stuff they have to meet for their grants and stuff as well. So other than that, that's about it.
Questions, Jill?
I have a question for you. Do you guys get involved in any way with these house explosions? Is there a meeting after that that involves you, or is it specifically the service folks for them, that
Yeah,
area?
usually it's, I said, it hasn't been us. Like most of the time that's like Red Cross and things that would help, you know, the displaced individuals. I mean, we could get involved in it, but no, we haven't in the past.
I didn't know if there was like you have after some other
Mhm.
events, you'll have a group meeting to say, to
Mhm.
just review processes.
Mhm.
I can kind of speak to that, Lisa. For some of the bigger events, we have been debriefing those, especially if there's fatalities involved, more leaning on the mental health aspect of the providers. But, you know, those, I won't say they happen after everyone, but any large incident, or really any incident that we deem necessary to debrief, we'll all get together. We actually just had one this past week for the fire on Central, so. EMS, fire, police, and dispatch all got together to debrief that.
Okay.
Might mention that the lady caught in the explosion in Hume died late last night or early morning. What did I say? Hume, I'm sorry.
Newman,
Newman, okay, she died last night.
I saw that on the news.
Sorry, I thought it was. Dina?
We are in year 4 of entering the data into the new system. It's been grueling, it's been tiring, but we're getting there. In the midst of all that, 2 more girls have been through the 6 classes and passed 6 exams to be certified, so I'm proud of that. And we are finishing up our reassessment of the southeast corner of the county, and hopefully tax cycle will be pushed back a couple months, get a little more in line, and we'll keep working on getting that back on track.
Dina, are we looking at moving or advancing the schedule next year? Have you and the treasurer's office looked at, because we were relatively late this year in billings and
Right.
tax collections and
That's what I'm
everything
saying.
else?
I'm hoping we'll move that back in time, a couple months at least.
Okay. Thank you. Scott?
Not too much. Coroner's office has obviously been very busy for the last 2 months, tragedy after tragedy. And then with the cell phone issue, I sent you a message about it also, just trying to improve the cell phone coverage at the coroner's office. You know, it's all metal, so you don't really get any. So that's something obviously you're gonna have to be aware of if you're doing the jail out there. But there was a claim I turned in, to get reimbursed on a thing we're gonna try to attach out there, so we'll see what that does. Housing Authority, or the new roof on the high rise starts tomorrow. That's been limbo because of some fasteners, some spring, but they've arrived and everything's on site, so that starts tomorrow. We have one little part that we're waiting on, we're changing over to a fob system, no longer be. Right now, you know, you can just walk in and out of the high rise, that's changing. All the residents will have fobs, the building will be locked at all times. They'll use fobs to get in. There's a call box outside, like you see at a school or something, where if you're a visitor, you hit a button that rings our office, we can see you, you know, we can ring you in if we want to, or they can call the residents directly from that call box and they can let them in from their phone. It's just no more in and out when people want. So that should be finished here in about, I'd say within 2 weeks. That'll be the last step of that, so. Yeah, I think that's it. We just went through our audit, the housing authority, it was good, clean audit. HUD was on site, we got our, highest score we've had in a decade. So we're now, at the top tier, we're now considered a high performer, which haven't been since 2012. So good staff, just, you know, like Don said with his group, we've got great people and, we all work well together.
Questions? Thank you, Scott.
You said your cell phone doesn't work in your building
If I'm inside,
because it's metal. Yeah, I get the same thing in my.
You
barn.
can get I guess is what you got, you can get an amplifier or whatever they
yeah,
call it.
that's what we ordered to see if we could hook it up top. I don't
It
know
works a
how
lot of places.
But if which isn't a big deal, honestly, if I open my door, I can call any one of you guys. But,
I'll walk outside and get mine working.
Call me during the polar vortex next time.
so but of course, you know, I'm not there 8 hours a day, so that, it's not too much of an issue, it's just, hopefully this resolves it, and so be good.
We have the same thing at the annex.
Yep.
I've actually kind of gotten chewed out by my wife a time or two for not answering my phone.
Is that the real reason?
Well, there's lots of reasons, that goes without saying.
The only time it really became an issue was there was a time where dispatch was trying to contact me, and the call didn't come through to me. And, so that created a little bit of confusion on their part, but,
Texting always works at the buildings.
yeah, it seems to, yeah. Anyway, I think we have a plan in place to fix it, so.
How much is an amplifier, so out of curiosity?
The one that we bought, which I even believe is a really good one, is like $1,000. But they seem to start, you know, I think $500-600, you know, so, hopefully, this has one thing that'll go up in the garage and one that'll go in the office, and then a little antenna thing that'll go just on the side of the building, and, see what happens.
Okay.
See if my wife will pay for one.
Did I miss anybody, staff-wise or office? Let's move into committee reports. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, we had the animal meeting yesterday. We're in the process of hiring a replacement for Linda at the shelter. She's retiring at the end of October. I think she interviewed 6 candidates, and we picked one we thought would be excellent. He's a retired fireman. He's been around animals for, I think, 20 years, so I think he's the one we're gonna hire, so I think we have a good candidate.
Okay. Any questions? Andy?
No, we stopped and looked at the new electric panel in the basement that they put in. I asked him why. I guess, did you hear his explanation? Like, it was like one leg, and if something went out, it forced a whole bunch of juice into that box. So I asked if that could happen again, and my understanding is that he's wired it a little bit different so that can't happen again. So lights are back on, they got that fixed. That's it.
Question for you. At last meeting, we talked about there were still some electrical issues before the Honeybee or after the Honeybee. Everything didn't get,
During the honeybee, it was kind of during the honeybee, and that got fixed. If you'll look out there, there's straw where they, I guess it must have Board underneath, be sure.
That was that whole
board.
boring under the concrete conversation?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I noticed today that there's, up in that corner, there's a cap on the, that's been open ever since. We had- Because the ones that have, city's gonna come back and run a thing down, a camera down through there or something. Anyway, Jason did it when he was here to put a cap on it, so that's all buttoned up too, so. And the electric, that's fixed, the electricity issues, all of them are fixed at this point.
All the receptacles, you know.
Yeah, they should all be working.
Anything else? Bill?
Nope.
Russ?
Nope.
Carl?
No.
Lisa?
Sure. Going back to asking you about, remember we talked about after the last regularly scheduled health board meeting, there was the comment that they were still having a lot of temperature regulation problems at the health
Okay.
department. Did you have any, did anybody contact you to,
I contacted Sycamore, and he said, we're working on it.
okay,
And that was the last I heard. Now, I think it's one of, that system is gonna be one of those that they're gonna have to give them feedback. Hey, it's still hot in this room, or it's cold in this room, so that they can adjust the different sensors that control different rooms. So make sure that, I guess, next time you're at health department meeting, ask if that got fixed.
There's a meeting next week, right?
yes.
So just ask there, say, hey, if they got it fixed, because if they haven't, I'll get right back with them and say, hey, it's not fixed.
They were talking about a valve up in the attic or something on a pipe, did they fix that?
I don't know
They were talking
what,
about the,
okay,
I don't know if they do or not, back when.
who was the health department?
Mhm.
Okay,
Man, I think Sycamore, somebody said the valve didn't open or close correctly, and there's not enough room to get up there to check it out, so I don't know.
okay.
How'd they get up there to put the valve in it then, if there's not enough room?
Just what they said, maybe.
Okay.
I'll make a note for our next meeting. Summer meal program, you know, we talked about that yesterday. And many thanks to Amanda Miner for taking the time to come speak with us. So they served 2,307 meals, the majority of those with rec center participants. So there was a slight difference between the number of meals purchased and the number of meals consumed. And I did send an email to Stacy Skelton asking for receipts and including if she had already submitted any to Augie. Haven't heard back from her yet. And I copied Augie on that, so she had his email address if she didn't already. Solar, I have not received a response from my email asking for clarification from the latest folks that want to put in a small field. Paycom, I know that they have been sending a lot of emails and calendar invites to get things set up. I'm listed as the point of contact, and I said my role's pretty much over now, and asking them to change it to Dawn. So I am appreciating the fact that they have what appears to be a very standardized process to get data gathered and collected and to get us oriented. So if it fits into my paying job schedule, I look forward to attending some of those. Dawn, do you have anything you want to add?
I understand that, of course, I've been scarce lately, but Pam briefed me on a lot of things, and as of right now, I understand we're going to do this transition so that we get some kind of learning base. Jennifer has agreed to be the, when I say she agreed, I didn't even ask her, she agreed. She agreed to be the backup for Pam, and I'm going to try to absorb it from the get-go so that I'm not standing there looking more confused than I normally do, right, Lud? All right, and we'll see how this transition goes. I have to admit, when I got in to check the emails, all these, but I better too much than not enough, I guess, better communication. So I think we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and please convey our appreciation to Pam, especially for all the work she's already
have
put
to?
into. Yes, you do.
Oh,
Yes, because I know this has been a lot on top of her regular responsibilities.
yeah, she's golden to my office.
Augie, have they asked for very much from your office?
Not much yet.
Okay.
And I've not been able to sift through whole page full of emails yet.
They generate more emails than
Yeah.
I can think of. I mean, there is amazingly amount of emails.
Yes, and they just seem organized, and I've had several just email conversations and such, and so I appreciate how it seems to be going. We also got a response regarding our question about comments made in the state county officials newsletter from Pike County, that they were accurately or not blaming some of their fiscal problems with the state on transitioning to Paycom. So we had asked them to make sure that they understood that that was being stated, and to make sure that if there truly was an issue that Paycom had any responsibility for, that we didn't fall into that same problem. And so the last communication I had with them was that they were looking into it, and they thought they understood what the root of Pikes County was, and it would not be repeated here. So, Public Health Department, as was mentioned, we are going to our new schedule of meeting monthly, therefore our next meeting is next week. And Bruce from Bellwether plans to attend that meeting. I think, as with Tim Gilbert being there for our last meeting, it's a good thing to have some outside forces in there, and making sure that we have the guidance that we need to make sure that we do things accurately, appropriately, and legally. And that's all.
Okay, any questions, Lisa? Okay, I'm gonna review my notes. Land, we have tentatively scheduled a closing on the jail property on Friday.
Yep.
And we're trying desperately to get you the information done for transferring funds. We do not have that yet, but we've already talked about it this morning. We don't wanna surprise you at 11:55, and it's due at 12, so.
Well, I keep quite a bit in my desk drawer of cash, so.
Well, you'll need it. So,
Don't put
yeah,
that down,
by the
Gary.
way, you can, Bruce, that'll be your next project. Okay, the topo survey is complete. We don't have a report on it yet, but as far as the courthouse bid for the roof and the elevator, I talked to Michael earlier, I can't remember whether it was earlier this week or late last week, to see where we're at on that. He promised that we would at least be able to bid the courthouse roof at one of the November meetings. So, as far as the elevator, we still need some comparison numbers on a site 1, I'll say, and the existing site 2. So, I told him that, we really need that stuff, okay? We do have the meeting on the 18th, correct, for the selection of the construction management firm. And Josh, Andy, and I, as well as Michael and maybe Sean, are gonna be in on the selection. So that's moving forward. We're gonna have a land acquisition personnel closed session here in a little bit. Budget-wise, I wanted to remind you, and we're gonna talk to the sheriff's committee, is gonna meet with the sheriff and his staff on Tuesday or Wednesday to discuss like the cell phone issues and some of the other things that have been proposed, personnel, et cetera. So I think that's it. I don't think you got a copy of the budget, but I'll make sure we didn't have enough for them, did we yet? So we'll get that to you. I think that's all I have. I've reviewed a lot of stuff on Monday morning, or Tuesday morning, so do you have any questions of me? Okay, we will, at the next study session, go over some of the other budgets. We made it through our regular budgets that we control directly. We still have some of the other budgets to review, such as the health department and highway department. So we'll be going through those, and if you have any questions, please, if you can, try to study the budget to make sure you're comfortable with what we're doing and saying. I know there was some comments about maybe there wasn't enough for attorney's fees for negotiations. We'll take a look at adjusting that, because that's coming up this next calendar year. So we'll have to deal with that. I think that's it for this point.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
excuse me, you just mentioned the sheriff department, and it reminded me to ask about a sheriff committee meeting. We talked about it yesterday, but I don't believe there was a firm date nor time
I
ever
don't
given.
have it yet. It's either
Okay.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay,
Derek is supposed to get back to me today sometime, and then we'll get it scheduled and let the sheriff's committee know about where they're at.
okay. I didn't want to miss it.
Nope, you're good, I'm glad. You reminded me. Okay, we need to go into a closed session for the purposes of land acquisition and personnel. That should be appropriate for what we're doing. Can I have a motion to that effect, please? Andy moves, Russ seconds.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so if you want me to stay, it has to be in your motion to have me stay.
Oh, okay, and to include, the motion should include to have a Bellwether representative stay for that meeting. And you could, I don't know how to spell your last name, so,
That's it.
okay?
All you-
Bruce. Okay, so, okay, we've got a motion and a second, correct? All those in favor of going into closed session for the purposes as stated, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. It does carry, and we'll be going into closed session here in a few minutes, so if news media has any questions, they want, no action will be taken after the meeting, but we will.
Okay, we're live.
All right, so we've come out of closed sessions, there's no action to be taken on closed session. Did you have a?
Is there anybody outside?
Oh, we might check that, just to make sure. Thank you.
All else in free.
Is there any other comments about, there's nothing on the agenda, is there any other comments before we close the meeting? Hearing none, motion to adjourn, Andy moves, Bill seconds, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.